Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with the next update for my No Pan Left Behind. This year I am trying to reach for every single item in my collection. I did the same last year, but I did not quite get to everything. But I introduced this project earlier this year just to have another way of rotating through my palettes. So I tried to work on 3 palettes at any point in time. I used every single shadow in there, no pan left behind. Currently I'm actually working on 4 palettes, but that's because I had 1 palette rolled over from the month before, so I just decided to keep that in and then roll in 3 new palettes. So I'm going to let you know how I'm doing with my 4 palettes today. But before jumping into that, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. Let's jump into the video. So let's start with the palette that was rolling over that I did not use 2 months ago, fully no palette behind. I had a couple of shades left, and that was my Red Dragon palette from Odin's Eye. This palette looks like this, and yeah, I had a couple of shades, like I said, left to reach for, but I have now reached for those remaining shades, so I have completed my no pan left behind on this. I have actually since then rolled in one of these eyeshadows into my pan of eyeshadows, which is the Shadow Jin right here, or Yin. So that one is one that I'm currently working on. I'm actually wearing that one today as well in my like crease. I have a black and white corner and then like this in a crease, and then more transition shades with it, but I am waiting for that shadow today, but I have completely no pan left behind on this previously, and I'm excited about that. Then for the palettes that I rolled in last month, first up we have a Colourpop palette. This is the Aha Honey palette. I wanted to reach for this one because I love yellow tones in summer, and this is what it looks like. Mine is slightly different because I have switched out one of the shadows up here. This used to be a shimmer, but I just didn't like that shimmer anymore, so I switched it out to another matte. But I have actually reached for this one, no pan left behind as well. I did, I think, 2 or 3 looks with this. I think 2 looks with this. For the first look, I think I used mainly the mattes. I remember using Sunburst, Stinger, Buzzkill, I believe, and Sweet Spot. I think those are the ones I reached for that time. Then for the second look is one when I reached for the remaining shadows. So I reached for... Actually, no, never mind. I did reach for Sweet Spot in the second look. So this was one that I reached for my crease. Then I remember using Totally Bugging to deepen it up. I used Queen Bee on the outer lid, and then Dandy on my inner lid, and Top Palooza on top. And then I used Oh Behave on my lower lash line. So those are the 2 looks that I did with this palette. I'm going to keep reaching for this one in the next coming months because, again, I do love yellow tone looks in summer. The next palette is a new one for me. I got this one a couple months ago from my friend Martina, and I wanted to reach for this one because it's one that I wasn't really quite sure about the color story with, and that was the Sendo palette from Natasha. These get so grimy with the fingerprints, but the palette itself is super pretty. It looks like this, but I was just a bit kind of meh about the color story originally. Like, I wasn't sure how these like more corally warm tones gonna mix with the cool tones, but I'm actually happy to say that I really like this palette. I like it a lot. I like the looks that I made with this. I used this palette in the beginning of the month, like from my last update, so I can't remember what looks I made with this one, but I think I made... Obviously I used these like here for like a greeny blue look. I think I also tried to save... I did have one where I mixed the green with like a couple of the peachy shadows because I wanted to see how they played together, and they worked quite nicely. And then I think I did 1 or 2 additional looks just using these like more warmer tones, or you know, just incorporate 1 or 2 shades here and there in other looks. But I really like this color story. I am surprised because this was not a palette that I wanted to originally pick up from Natasha Denona, but yeah, I'm happy that I got it now, and I do like it a lot. It's actually not my top favorite, but I do prefer it more than like the Sunrise and the Love palette, for example. So I'm happy that I rolled this one into this project. Then the last palette that I rolled in was one that I also got from my friend Martina, and this was one that I was a bit like... I wasn't sure about the formula, like I hadn't played with it, but I was very intrigued by it because I heard a lot of good things about it, and that is my Rowan quad. This is the 75 degrees quad, which looks like this. So it has 4 shades only, and it's like more of a warm tone kind of quad, and these textures are very, very unique. They're like almost sticky. It's like the texture where I feel like it will crease. Like, I know this is quite an expensive quad, but like, I don't know, it's something about it. Like, they do give really nice impact, and like they stick down on their own quite a lot, but I feel like they're also like quite slick, and I'm worried about them creasing. But when I've worn them, I don't think they do crease, maybe a tiny bit, but not too bad. I'm actually wearing two of these today as well. I'm wearing the bottom two here. I'm wearing this one here on my outer corner and this one on my like inner lid, but I have topped it up with a different shade. But I had used that one before, but I just wanted to reach for it again today. And then these two are used in different looks. This is topper shades, and I do like this quad. I don't know, I think it's one that I might not have picked up on my own, but I think these work really nice like as like a one and done eyeshadow, or if you just want nice texture, if you're not into like indie eyeshadows or like single shadows but you still want that texture, these are really, really good. So yeah, as you can see, I have reached for this on No Palette Behind. I didn't mention that, but I did have, and this is one that I will continue playing with because I'm not still 100% sure what I feel about it. I have enjoyed the times that I use this. I have a couple favorite shades. I don't think I like all of them. This one down here is a little bit too deep for what I like, but I think it would be nice for like a smoky eye. So yeah, it's not my favorite palette, but I'm happy that I tried it, and I'm happy to have it in my collection. I'm definitely going to keep using it for like more kind of, I don't know, neutral, simple looks, I guess. So those were all of the palettes that I was working on in this project, and also those are actually all of the palettes, the only palettes that I reached for No Palette Behind since the last update. I've been reaching more for my singles recently rather than my palettes, so I haven't reached for any more palettes No Palette Behind. So those are 4 additional palettes, which means I have reached for 29 palettes No Palette Behind out of my 54, so that's 53.70%, which is good. I'm happy with that. I'm gonna keep going with my palettes, and there's definitely more that I can reach for No Palette Behind. There's a couple that I'm currently working on slowly to finish that goal with, so I will have a few more next month for sure, plus the ones that I'm introducing. So let's just jump into those. So all of the palettes that I'm rolling in are actually quite high end. So I have 2 Natasha Denona palettes, and let's start with the bigger one first. And that is actually the Sunrise palette. I mentioned this one earlier, that I don't like it now as much as Stendo, but I do want to play around with this one again. And this is like the perfect color story for like late summer. Yeah, I think this is going to be perfect. It's like, gives me like sunset vibes, holiday vibes. So this is one that I think is going to be really good to introduce. Yeah, so this is the first one that right there, and that is a 15-pan palette. The second Natasha Denona palette that I'm bringing in is one of their 5 pans, one of the mini palettes, and this is actually the mini Biba. This is another one that I got from my friend Martina, and this is what it looks like right there. I think this is again a really nice neutral color story that I think is going to work really well for like the warmer weather. Again, both of these palettes are like kind of end of summer palettes for me, and yeah, I'm reeling them in like mid-July. So I guess I could have waited with these until August, but I feel like they're still good palettes to roll in now. I think at that point I will reach for more like autumnal things, I guess. But for now, this is the palette that I'm rolling in as well. And yeah, I think it's going to be really nice. I think I can create like even like one look with this palette. I think I'm going to try that, but also maybe use a couple of shades a couple more times. So that is the next palette. Then the third and final palette I'm rolling in is one of my Pat McGrath palettes, and that is the Bronze Seduction palette. This one looks like this. It can create some really nice bronzy kind of smoky looks, but also more kind of sparkly, just beautiful summer looks. So I'm really excited to roll this one in. Yeah, I have used this one quite a few times already, especially my favorite shadows that I reached for. I think I reached for this one down here the most. You can see there maybe that it does have a tiny dip showing, but I do want to get more use out of this one, especially like the rest of the palettes too. So that is the next palette that I'm rolling in, and those are the 3 that I'm going to work on. And also I forgot to mention, but the last one is a 10-pan palette. So that is it for my update today, you guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know how you're doing with your No Palette Behind project down below, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye guys.